Well, it's finished earlier than we thought. That is a clinical, convincing victory for Bangalore. There was a brief period there when a couple of wickets fell. They lost the openers. Remember what happened in the first half of the game? 10 overs were completely Rajasthan. The next 10 was pulled back by Bangalore. We were wondering if that could be repeated in the second innings. No such thing. 149 for 9. Should really have been 189 for 9 or thereabouts, but it wasn't. 153 for 3 and 17.1, and made to look a lot quicker by a decent innings from Shikhar Bharat, but also Glenn Maxwell. To wrap up this Wednesday night, welcome to Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I'm going to start with a technical question. Pommie, Joy, maybe you can answer it. Are you in touch with Glenn Maxwell's travel agent? What time was his flight tonight? Did he have to rush to the airport?
Absolutely. I think right at the end, any discovery, I think at some point he was playing normally and he was playing decent. He said, enough is enough. I've just had it. There's stuff. These guys are already celebrating the dressing room. They're probably just having a nice cool drink afterwards. I need to finish. And he just went berserk. And it was fantastic to watch. But I love the maturity of that second wicket partnership. They grafted, they got together, they did it right. This is what we expected Rajasthan to do in the first innings, and they just didn't.
Yeah, it's a lesson for that. Wouldn't have envied Sanju Samson having to go and speak as captains have to do at the end. We can have a look at that partnership before I bring Pommie in. It was this one that Joy was talking about, Shikhar Bharat, who's been their designated number 3. They haven't deviated from it. We thought maybe AB gets a chance today. No, it was not the case. He went in there, and that partnership really sort of sealed the game in terms of direction it was going. Pommie, before we actually get the announcement for the man of the match,
right.
I want to get your quick take on that, because it's quite interesting. Maxwell obviously is the front runner for it, but he's playing on a good wicket on a subpar score. Would you go for
I'd say that it's a bowler. It'd be a bowler. Yeah, to me, it would be a bowler. If you look at the way that the game went, and you look at the way where the game was headed, you'd have to say that the course of the game changes because of what a bowler does. So take your pick, whoever it is you feel was the one responsible for shifting the game and for making sure that the game ends up in the favor of RCB. That's who your man of the match is.
Not Harshal, because for a change, he got 3 cheap wickets in the 20th over. So it's Chahal or Shahbaz.
Yeah, you have to look at the stage of the game where it shifts. And where it shifts is after going and sort of getting to 90 and looking like everything's fine. And then the wickets fall there. And when they fall there, it begins this period that has the Rajasthan Royals flapping really and flapping until right at the end where they don't get the runs. And you look at the fall of wickets and there you go. I mean, 100 for 1 is where they were. And then 117 for 5, that's kind of, okay, now you're searching. But you've still got some sort of opportunity. You can then go from there and try to get to sort of 17, 18 overs. Doesn't happen. They still continue to lose wickets. And on the back of there is a kind of slide started, the rest fall into place as a bowling group as well.
Yeah, for me, it's Chell. It's Chell for me. It's definitely Chell for me. It's the guy. I know Gautam got the breakthrough because, even Lewis was hitting against, trying to loft it and went straight up. But Chell was the guy who sort of clamped that middle order, forced them to take risks. And once he started making them take the risk, then on the other side, the reward started getting reaped. So Shahbaz Ahmed also got wickets, but it's Chahal who caused that downfall to start. And that 4 in 18, that's 11 dot balls. That 11 dot balls is as equally important as those 2 wickets. I think that's what strangled them. And then suddenly they felt the need that they had to do something to break that out. And for me, Chahal is the man of the match. He controlled the most vital part of the match. Because let's face it, the most vital part of this match was between the 10th and the 15th over in the Rajasthan innings. That's when this match turned on its head.
Yeah, he's doing no harm to his chances of trying to push for a surprise inclusion. Remember, teams have been announced, but there can be changes made at the end. So he's doing his chances no harm, Pommie, as you said, with all due respect to Rahul Chahar.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, you can't be looking at selection. Just, you know what? What would be the best thing for RCB is for him to come back as he's doing, for them to find some form, and then for them to be the guys at the end of this who are lifting a trophy for the first time, right? Hey, what else can you do? Even if you still don't get picked and end up at the 2020 World Cup, there's one coming up again not too long after this one. And I'm not saying give the one away. Of course, you'd love to go to both of those, but there's nothing you can do but selection. All you can do is keep playing, keep doing what you do, and get your side to win, whichever side that is at the time.
No, I just want to add to that. There's a great story. There's a film that all of you must see, and I'm sure, Pommie, you've seen it, and Gautam, you've seen it as well. It's a film called Escape to Victory. It's a film about a group of, POWs in the Second World War who are trying to escape. And of course, Pele is there, Osvaldo Ardiles is there, Pele is there. And the goalkeeper, I think, is Sylvester Stallone.
He is.
And the thing is, they had a normal goalkeeper, but he's got to play. So what they had to do was break the other goalkeeper's arm so that Sylvester Stallone was allowed to play, because he was important for the escape. So, hey, I'm not saying anything here.
Rahul, look out.
I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not.
Life is this great big metaphor, isn't it?
It's a great film. Go and watch it. Escape to Victory. Sylvester Stallone, Pele, Osvaldo Ardiles. Go watch it.
Yeah, I think we've all seen it, but for any of you who haven't seen it, go and watch that. But in a sense, the only way Rajasthan could have won today's game is by escaping to victory after that second 10 overs. But Maxwell at the end, never mind his flight schedules, he's obviously feeling a part of this unit. This is what he said at the end of the game. I felt good from the moment I've come to the team. Nice routine, very clear in my head as to what I want to achieve. What we've created with this group is special, and everyone chipping in helps a lot. Also, a big shout out to Shrikar Bharat. He's a genuine batsman, and his play is suited to that number 3 spot. So they've obviously worked out a formula. Padikkal and Kohli, little stability in the middle, and then comes a little bit more of a party.
I tell you what, this number 3 thing comes up a lot, and they were messing about and kind of responding whilst they were on the bench in the dugout. And it's not the first time people have asked the question. It's not the last time people will ask the question. This is not the game where that matters. This isn't the game. And this is not, and yes, he's done well, Maxwell. But this game, in comparison to the games when the pitches were slow and it was tough in the first part of this tournament, probably because of where they are as a side, it becomes important. But in terms of technically playing well and standing up to pressure and having to shift the way you normally play and so forth, the Maxwell that was going well in the first part is who they want, is the attitude they want, and that's what he's talking about. And so having gone back into winning ways and got the side over the line, that's what he'll feel. And the hope will be that that can continue as they go to the business end of the tournament. The number 3 issue, though, is going to come into question when there's a decision to make in a big game. Will that be in one of the playoff games if they've made it there? Will it be in the final if they get there? Where the question will be, hey, hold on. You've got a few on the board. You've got all these guys here. Who are you sending at 3? There are 12 overs to play. There are 11 overs. There are 8 overs to play. Are you sending Bharat in? Or are you sending Maxwell? Or are you sending AB de Villiers? Why are these guys sitting over there whilst your side is there trying to get to whatever the score is that you're chasing? So, yeah, and it's fair enough. The change room is like a cocoon, isn't it? It's a place where everyone's for everyone else and they've got to protect their patch. Fair enough. You take it, and unfortunately, if it doesn't work out, that's when people come at you.
Yeah, I think Pommie makes a good point. The one thing that the Bangalore team can take out of this match is the 2 points. Other than the 2 points, Maxwell continues to do what he's been doing. Would it have been prudent maybe to give AB a little bit of time out there. Because as Pommie said, when it comes to that critical game, yes, maybe you'll think of pushing him up. But the point is he's not had as much match time as you wanted.
I tend to agree. One of the reasons KS Bharat is in there is because I think they very well know that AB doesn't want to keep at this stage in his life, in his career. So basically, they're also protecting AB from keeping. And that's one of the major reasons KS Bharat is there. But having said that, I would move him down the order. I mean, really, if you have players of the quality of Maxwell and De Villiers, they have to bat ahead of him. And I still, again, it's untested today. He's done well today. Bully for him. But he could just as well, bat at number 5. There's a collapse, come in there, hold it up, do whatever you have to. Because look, he's not going to give you as much runs as a De Villiers or a Maxwell is going to do if they come in at 3 or 4 and 4 together.
And it's something they're aware of.
I think it's a discussion that's kind of been had so many times, and they prefer, and I hope I remember right in saying this, they prefer that those guys don't go in too early. And by those guys, I mean Maxwell and I mean AB De Villiers. I don't want them to go in too early. And if you're in a situation where you have that luxury, the luxury of being able to say, well, okay, it's a bit early, we're not running out of time, in you go, then fair enough. But I hope there's also the flexibility of, well, you know what, we want you to kind of go in a bit later, but in this situation, we think we need you two big guys, to go in, 3rd and 4th together, because otherwise we're going to run out of time, and we don't want you sitting here when we've run out of time and we've not been able to get to our target. Yeah,
I just want to add to that. I feel that the way Kolkata has actually put it out, they haven't done it as efficiently as they could, but the way Kolkata actually planned to play Russell is the way they should be playing Maxwell and De Villiers, which is to say, it's not based on the wickets down. It's based on the number of overs left. So if the openers have a stand of 12 overs, okay, next guy in should be De Villiers. If there's a wicket in the 3rd over, put in Bharat, stem the rot immediately, make sure that there are no more early wickets, let him play out a bit. So it can definitely be that, look, think about it. Isn't it logical? If it's a 15th over and, Padikkal just gets out, he and Virat Kohli have had a fantastic partnership, you have to be sending Maxwell and De Villiers in. There's no point at all sending Bharat. So if you actually say that it's going to be over-based rather than just follow wickets-based, perhaps you have a better idea of when to send them in.
I think another person, Pommie, they've done another person who's done it pretty well over the years is Kieron Pollard. I mean, there was a time a few years ago for Mumbai, he was coming way too late and way too down the order. You were seeing the same Pollard playing for the franchise in the CPL. He'd be padded up when the openers go. And the moment he'd see it's the right time, anyone who's sitting next to him, boys, I'm going in. And he'd stride in and take control of the game.
Yeah, but I'll say this though, Gautam. I'd say he too is one where when you sit and you watch Mumbai, you'd say, oh, isn't he coming in too late? To this day, people still say the same thing. But they've stuck to that plan, that kind of planning of, we want you to face 6 overs, maybe 7 at most. And we want you to do your best work doing that. Why? Because statistically, nobody else does it like you do it. And in this condensed format, I think there is the tendency for us who sit and we just look at the talents of the players who are out there to maybe get a bit too greedy without actually delving into the stats in kind of Moneyball fashion to see how many overs a De Villiers is most effective over. Does it follow that if you say he bats 16 overs, he's going to get 100, right? Does it follow? Has it happened? And if it hasn't, then you can't say if he bats longer, he'll get more runs. Then you can't say it, right? Does it follow that Pollard bats 7 overs on average? And if he does, he's going to get you 40 runs, 50 runs some of the time. Generally, he's going to win you the game. It follows. And it's happened for, what's he been in the tournament? 11 years, whatever it is, right? And he's done it consistently. In the time where people have said he should go up the order, they've tried a few times. Once or twice it's worked, but generally not, right? And they've got a good enough side that they can say, well, actually, before him is so and so and such and such and such and such and such and such. So where do you want us to put him? When you don't have those tools, that's when all the questions actually come.
Yeah, just quickly point out, jump on the Cricbuzz app and check what Virat Kohli has been saying at the end. We've made a comeback with the ball twice now in as many games. He's obviously focused. He knew the batting was just pretty much a formality for this score. We picked wickets at crucial junctures, which has been a big positive for us. We knew a couple of breakthroughs could open things for us. Knew that they were desperate for 2 points, and therefore our bowlers forced them to make mistakes. So he kind of recognized their desperation and realized that 91 for 1 does not guarantee you 180.
Big point.
I think that's he makes a good point there, rather than saying Maxi batted well.
Yeah, I think exactly. He's focused on the right things. He's focused on what really this has impressed with this Bengaluru team. Let's fight back. At 90 for 1, they didn't lose their heads. They didn't look around like, chickens without, knowing what to do. They said, okay, let's stick to our plan. Just keep doing what we have to do. Chahal, you're my go-to guy. Just try and choke it up a bit. Shahbaz, tempt them, let them do. And it all came together. Harshal comes together. Harshal doesn't do anything till the 19th over. And the 20th over goes and gets 3 wickets. So I think comebacks are something that coaches and players, especially captains, love. And the reason they like comebacks, why people like comeback victories instead of easy victories, is the next time they're in a tough situation, they can turn around and tell these guys saying, you know what, we've come back from worse than this before. So that's why comebacks, the narrative builds, yeah.
And that's why he said we've done it twice in as many games, and he's trying to push that point home to the world and, of course, to his own team. And yes, Pommie, Joy, we are unanimous in our decision, and the folks at the ground agree. Yuzvendra Chahal, man of the match. That's the way it should have been, because as you said, it's about picking the one who changed the game, and I think we all together call that one right.
Sensible folks, these commentators,
Well, there have been 1 or 2 games where we may have questioned that, with all due respect. We don't know who it was.
That's the reason I'm saying that. It's not for today I'm saying that.
This time around, spot on, winning side, who changed the game, took them to victory, and what does that do to the points table? That's where everyone's looking at. Virat Kohli said that Rajasthan were desperate for 2 points. They wanted to get off to 10 and get into that little 10-point muddle. What used to be an 8 was going to be a 10-point middle muddle, but it's not going to be. It's nicely delineated into the top 2, the next 3, and the bottom 3 at the moment. Rajasthan stay on 8, and Bangalore now start smelling the top 2. It's one thing to be qualifying and assuring yourself of a top 4 spot, but we can't reiterate and stress as much, Joy, on the need for that top 2 and that 2 bites of the cherry.
Absolutely. In fact, I think only one team has, after this system started, and I think it was in 2012 that it started, I think only one team, and that's Sunrisers in 2016, has won coming from 3rd or 4th place. Just having that extra game in hand gives you so much more certainty. So yeah, I mean, top 2 is a really important thing. Once you're there, and given that you're 7-3 and you're close enough, they have to now look at this very, very seriously. They'll be going, and it'll be interesting because I think there are 2 big battles out here. I think Kolkata versus Mumbai is going to be a big battle.
Pommie, just to wrap things up.
As I think about it, I'm actually thinking of the table, as you say that, in the big battles that Joe is talking about, with the teams on 11 and having 10 points, and 1 on 11 having 14 points. I think we can comfortably separate. We can take those that have 10 and say, hey, you're in your own little group there, and you're trying to all sort of fight out for the 1 spot. And it's not definite yet. Of course, there's a way to go. But if you are RCB, you want to ensure that one of the next ones, preferably the very next one you play, after 12 games, you have 16 points. Then you can, your mind can then be on, ooh, can we come second here? Can we come first here? Because as Joy says, that's going to be particularly important. And they want to make it a fight between those three up at the top for first and second. It'd be important. And I dare say that winning the games at this time is the right time to be winning them, because it means having gone from sort of, oh, they're not going to make it, oh, they've lost their way, oh, just at the right time, they start to go in the right direction, and they might just gather some momentum and end up in those playoffs. And if they end up first or second, it's actually even better, because they get on a winning run and they have to win 2-3 games, and then it's done.
Well, I think that's it from this particular game. What will satisfy Bangalore fans and, of course, Virat Kohli and his men in the dressing room is that twice in a row, bowlers have come to the party. So often we remember Bangalore, the team of the past, celebrating another De Villiers innings, celebrating another Kohli's innings. The bowlers, yes, they leaked about 30 more runs, but we made up for it. This time it's the other way around, and I think that's what's going to give them satisfaction. Looking ahead to another game that is crucial at both ends. On the one hand, it's going to be the men in yellow trying to sort of jump to the top at 18, and the men in orange trying to just stay above. They're underwater at the moment, but not quite sunk. They just want to keep afloat, because this time around, you can toss your calculators out the window. If they don't win, the equation is very clear. There is no equation. It is finally bye-bye to Hyderabad. Right? Even my complicated mathematics, integral calculus will not get them anywhere. I'm sorry, guys. This time you just have to win. So let's have a look at what they can possibly do against a side who are on a roll in this do-or-die game. They made bold moves last time. They got rid of David Warner. Lots been talked about that. Is he going to come back? He seems to suggest definitely not this season. Manish Pandey also has been a question mark. They've been hunting for their best 11. Joy, no better time to try and somehow pull something out of there.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I think they're still going to go and try and win, but it's very clear that at this as a franchise, they're now looking away from both David Warner and Manish Pandey as players. If Vijay Shankar is fit, I'll be very surprised for him not to get an opportunity. They gave Priyam Garg a chance because they felt probably to go with the younger players. But interesting, the other change that they can look at is for Mujibur Rahman not to get a game at all is something that I really I think they need to give him an opportunity to play as well.
And Joy, it's Sharjah. It's the low and slow Sharjah. So why not Mujib?
Yeah, I'd go with Mujib. I'd go with maybe even if Holder has to sit it out, I would, because you need to finally see that guy. And if it's about, you cannot find a better pitch than Sharjah. Mujib, Rashid on Sharjah pitches, they're going to be quite a handful. So even if your top 5 batsmen give you something, you've got the bowlers who can exploit those conditions then.
They might head in the direction of Nabi though, instead of Mujib. And the only reason I go that way is because he bats and it's been quite difficult for batters. So if you can lengthen the batting lineup and still get a smart, he's a good operator, as Muhammad Nabi, knows what he's about, kind of likes the contest, and kind of, because he's an all-rounder, he has this like sixth sense as he goes about his bowling as well. So it's tough. If you're making the call, it's a tough call to make as well, because Holder on that slow surface, changing the pace with the height, so it makes him difficult to face. And he's been in good touch. He's had a couple of good games. So if you're going to drop him, it's tough on the guy. You're not going to drop Roy, though. You're not going to drop Rashid. You're not going to drop your captain, Williamson. So it's only one spot. And there are these 3 guys who potentially could also contribute to you winning the game. All I say is that multiple choice and make sure you pick correctly.
Is it too late to change citizenship overnight? How long do we have to become a non-overseas player?
Who are you looking at specifically? Well,
Mujib. I mean, they kind of speak a little bit of the language, so they can kind of slip in there. And don't discount his batting. Trust me, he fancies himself. He pushed and pushed his way in a
It's one
CPL
thing to
game.
fancy
Come
yourself.
to walk up at number 3 once.
How did he do at number 3?
Yourself.
Oh, he failed. But that doesn't matter. He tried. He used his influence.
Boss,
You'll give him
you're
an
talking
A
to
for
Pommie.
effort.
You're talking to Pommie. Which bowler do you know does not fancy himself as a batsman? Find one bowler who doesn't fancy himself as a batsman.
Pommie, what's the
Pommie thought he
highest?
should have batted at 4.
What's the highest you've ever batted in a batting order? Go on.
Well, it depends. In what? Like in school or?
No.
What?
At the highest level.
Oh, at the highest level, like in
Yeah.
test matches.
Yeah.
Probably about 10.
Okay, there you go.
That's very high. For
I was
me.
hoping you'd say maybe night watchman and I got quick 30 one day.
Nah.
Fair enough.
No chance. Nah. Now listen. Nubby, okay? Or holder. There
Done.
you go.
Done. Sorry, Mujib. You'll have to wait another day. But, yeah, all
I
it
know
means
he's your
is that-
mate. I know he's your mate.
Oh,
I
so
like
is
him
Nubby.
too. He's good.
So is Nubby.
Good,
So is
good
Nubby.
bowler.
All
Good
the
bowler.
Afghan boys are lovely boys, and if there was a way, we'd love to have got them all in. But at the moment, Holder's done enough. Williamson's the captain, and Rashid's. So headache for Hyderabad.
And Roy can smash it.
And Roy has smashed it. They've just finally got him in, and he's shown he can do that. So they've got to have that balance between the slowness of Sharjah, runs and wickets. We'll see what's going to happen. It's going to be fun in games. Let's move to Chennai. Less headaches there, but is this the time of the tournament, or they haven't got to 18 yet, when they try and see any other options we need to look at? Is Imran Tahir an option on that pitch, or do you just give Jadeja more of a go? And Moeen Ali hasn't really bowled. He's been brilliant with the bat. Can Moeen get 4 overs if you're not bringing in a Tahir, Pommie?
Moeen probably will get overs, but I think you might get a Tahir. I think you get a Tahir instead of a Josh Hazelwood. I think he may go that route, Dhoni, and he'll pack it with those spinners. He's happy with his all-rounders and batting and so forth. Essentially, then just becomes about him picking enough of his players to be able to maneuver at Sharjah. Does he have enough in terms of seam? Yeah, I think who's he got? He's got Chahar. He'll use him up at the front, and he's happy with him. He can bowl cutters. He can do the rest. If he wants to go to a faster bowler right at the back end, he'll keep Bravo to bowl right at the back end. So he doesn't necessarily need those new ball deliveries from a faster bowler. Tahir doesn't mind bowling first. If you ask him to, he'll do it. He'll do any job, actually. He'll be quite happy to just get in the side. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went that route. Of course, there's the option of Ngidi, but Ngidi takes wickets and would prefer if the pitches were faster. This is slow. He'll go more towards the spin. And yeah, I expect that it may well be Tahir who he says, listen, here, have a go. Let's see how you go here. And can you make a play for us?
2 questions, Joy. One is, of course, DJ Bravo, because they want to treat him with kid gloves. We know he came in from the CPL with a bit of a niggle, didn't bowl there at the back end of the tournament. His team won. His biggest energy was the victory lap at the end, after winning the tournament. But they really need to rest him a little bit. So if they're kind of resting him, is there going to be a worry somewhere in that middle order with someone like Suresh Raina? The one person, the talisman who's not quite fired yet.
See, they'll carry. If you look at Chennai, the last time that they won the title, which was 2019, I mean, how long did they carry, say, Shane Watson? They carried Watson forever and ever and ever until they got there. I completely agree with what Pommie is saying. Tahir for Hazelwood, depending on fitness, it's either Karan or Bravo, but one of them will play. So Karan or Bravo, one of them will play. Tahir or Hazelwood, one of them will play. The other two obviously pick themselves. Faf and Moeen Ali pick themselves. So I think that's their lineup. They're again a very settled unit. And again, Bravo for Karan doesn't make much of a material difference in the way their side is structured. And Tahir for Hazelwood also doesn't. Remember, I think they have one more pace. They have Deepak Chahar, they have Shardul Thakur. And one of Bravo.
Yeah, I forgot him. I mean, how can you forget him? He's got more than enough options.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Shardul. He's got Deepak Chahar. he's going to get Bravo or Curran, one of these guys. So 3 there. And then he has 4 spinners. He can play Tahir. He can play Jadeja. He's got Moeen Ali. He's got all the options in the world. He can get Suresh Raina to come in and bowl a few if he wants to. I mean, there is options galore for him. I think it's exactly the side that Dhoni likes to, run around with. Lots of options, little pieces here, move it there. But it's a terrific side, and it's looking good.
Yeah, and between Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur and Jadeja, they bat well enough to compensate for Raina not scoring much.
Yeah. Now, let's remember that one, not been playing. 2, the expectation of a guy who year after year gives you runs galore generally then says that you're going to expect him to be hitting the ground running and so forth. And this is not me saying, feel sorry for such and such and whatever the case may be. But what there will be the belief. I was talking about Chahal, and I was saying a hardened character who's been in battle before, who's faced all sorts of situations. The same can be said about Suresh Raina. And the fact that they now have a Moeen Ali, who they believe is the number 3 who can do it, he will go, he'll play freely, do what he needs to do, but it's not necessarily going to come off each time. And so as he walks in at 4 or at 5, Suresh Raina essentially becomes this sort of backup if the plan doesn't go accordingly, and can still do that job. So it's a nicely long order. Throw in the all-rounders that you're talking about after that, whether it's Bravo, whether it's Shardul Thakur, whether it's Deepak Chahar coming in all the way further back, then you're a happy MS Dhoni. And I haven't even put him in the order yet, because he comes before all of those guys.
Non-playing captain.
I haven't even spoken about Jadeja, who will come in as well. So
Raidu, Pommie.
Raidu is before him, right? Like Raidu might go in before. So that's okay. I don't think you have to worry about Raina. All that CSK will want is that as they go towards the games that matter, that there'll be enough of them in form that will be playing decently enough that they can get the job done when it counts. That's all. And they'll back the guys who have been in their 11, who have that experience to be able to get it done on the day.
Yep. Well, one side with very little to worry, the other side with plenty to think about and to worry. It'd just be interesting to see as and when they get to maybe 20 points, if Chennai do, what they do with their team for that last game. But that's still a while away.
Points. Wow.
Exactly. We'll see who gets to play then.
Oh, wow. Yeah, everyone will rest, I reckon.
There you go. But remember that we've just speculated here. You can download the My 11 Circle app, but wait for us just before the game. Download the app now. Take your time. Do it now. Figure out how you play the game, how you get teams in, get a captain in, select tomorrow's match, which is going to be Chennai against Hyderabad. 5 crores, first prize money. And of course, we'll be back with a preview with our My 11 Circle smart picks to make sure that after the toss, you pick from the right people who are actually on the park. Well, Hyderabad have questions to answer. Chennai, maybe not so many. The only person who has a question to answer tonight, you know who it is. Joy.
Okay, I thought we had a pretty easy one today. Which name is missing in the middle? Sir Alec Betzer, Brian Statham, Sir Fred Truman, Gap, Dennis Lilly, Ian Botham, and Sir Richard Hadley. And I'm sure, Gautam, you know this one. And it's
Lance Gibbs?
Of course, it is Lance Gibbs. This is successive holders of the record for maximum test wickets. So Truman was 307. Lance Gibbs crossed it, went to 309. And of course, 5-6 years later, Dennis Lilly crossed him. It's Lance Gibbs' birthday today. He's one of the finest bowlers of those 60s and 70s. So just thought it was a great time to give him a tribute. So Lance Gibbs is the answer. Do you have any correct answers? There must be some correct answers out there.
Oh, there must be many correct answers, especially those who know. Oh, Nuffy's back again. Nuffy's back again. We remember him from a previous game. He still hasn't. I remember he replied to us on Twitter, but I don't think he replied telling us what Nuffy means. Or maybe he did. Do it again.
I'll tell you what Nuffy means. It means tragic. So if you replace Nuffy with tragic, cricket tragic,
cricket tragic.
Nuffy.
There you go. Well, yeah,
That's
fair. That's what we think it should have meant. But if it does, well done, Cricket Nuffy. That's a good question. Happy birthday to Lance Gibbs. You didn't give everybody a knighthood there, Joy, as you were running down the list.
Yeah, actually, I missed a few knighthoods. I was just wondering. I missed quite a few knighthoods, actually.
Yeah, you did. It was one of your easier ones, though. It's got to be said.
Yeah.
I reckon if you put those names in Google, something that would come out. Actually, don't you think? I didn't. I knew the answer as well. By the way, when we started the program, I did.
Perfect.
Well, there you go.
And I'll tell you why I knew the answer. I mean, I kind of, as I looked at it, the numbers come to you, but the name sometimes won't come to you, right? This morning at breakfast, Harsha Bogle held a phone to me with a picture, a photograph, and it was of a young Lance Gibbs. And he said, "Who is that?" And I looked at, said, "I don't know." And I drew back this way, go. And I said, "Can I make the picture bigger?" He said, "No, because then you're going to see what's written." And I said, "Okay, you got to allow me to kind of just, look at it a bit close." And I said, "That looks like Lance Gibbs." He says, "Correct. That's Lance Gibbs." And so when I saw the names, when we started the program, I've gone, that's, I know what that is. And straight away, the name Gibbs comes to your mind, but only because I'd seen it. Otherwise, I don't know if I'd have been able to place it along the line. Do you know what I mean? But there you go. That's why it was a long breakfast. It was a long breakfast.
I can tell. You should thank Harsha for that if he's still lurking somewhere in the vicinity. But
he's gone. That's why it's quiet now.
Oh, it's bedtime, is it? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they've gone to bed. Yeah.
Well,
they're not allowed to talk. If they're not allowed to talk, they sleep. Commentators.
Fair point. That's what you do for a living. Well, that's been quite an entertaining set of conversations, and the kind we like to get going, of course, here on the program, but the kind we further accentuate if you're on Cricbuzz Plus, because it gets even more in-depth. It gets even more into some interviews that you would really want to get on there. So subscribe and be a part of Cricbuzz Plus. It's what we have and much, much more, as the name suggests. Well, there you have it. We're looking forward to the men in yellow against the men in orange to see if one team can stay alive in the tournament. Will we still have 8 tomorrow, or is it going to be down to 7? We'll find out right here on this very show. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Pommie. And thank all of you for tuning in to Cricbuzz Live, brought to you in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. Good night.